bana Mose bashitata na bana mayo banelila we mwamba Kasama ile fire iwe wile we boheshi mwamba Later experience Alankane we bomba mwamba Emmanuel Mose bakasama bale fire mwamba Emmanuel Bakasama wakulila Kule fire mwamba we Emmanuel Chupani ni PF Kule fire mwamba we Emmanuel Wakuito mwele Emmanuel mwamba mbasata Emmanuel Wale fire Emmanuel mwamba mbasata Emmanuel Alakale we bomba mwamba Emmanuel Mose bakasama bale fire mwamba Emmanuel Bakasama wakulila Kule fire mwamba we Emmanuel Chupani ni PF Kule fire mwamba we Emmanuel Wakuito mwele Emmanuel mwamba mbasata Emmanuel Wale fire Emmanuel mwamba mbasata Emmanuel Bakasama wakulila Ni wewe wale fire Kafwa babaranda we umfokulila kwa bantu Kasama yusi bose bachinda me abakulu n'abana Mose bashitata na bana mayo banelila we mwamba Kasama ile fire iwe wile we boheshi mwamba Later experience Alankane we bomba mwamba Emmanuel Mose bakasama bale fire mwamba Emmanuel Bakasama wakulila Kule fire mwamba we Emmanuel Chupani ni PF Kule fire mwamba we Emmanuel Wakuito mwele Emmanuel mwamba mbasata Emmanuel Wale fire Emmanuel mwamba mbasata Emmanuel Alakane we bomba mwamba Emmanuel Mose bakasama bale fire mwamba Emmanuel Bakasama wakulila Kule fire mwamba we Emmanuel Chupani ni PF Kule fire mwamba we Emmanuel Wakuito mwele Emmanuel mwamba mbasata Emmanuel Wale fire Emmanuel mwamba mbasata Emmanuel Bakasama wakulila Kule fire mwamba we Emmanuel Kule fire mwamba we Emmanuel Emmanuel mwamba mbasata Emmanuel Emmanuel mwamba mbasata
Good evening and thank you very much for joining me on today's brief. Today we are discussing various national matters, and I think we'll tackle issues of good governance, issues of the shrinking democratic space, and the resignation of board members, from state-owned enterprises. And these are board members that were appointed by the president. We have noted an erosion in issues of good governance. I keep on quoting the U.S. report on human rights that was issued by the U.S. government, by State Department, and this report is for the 2022, and it highlighted various breaches of human rights, unlawful killings, unlawful detentions, prolonged detentions, the terrible prison conditions, issues of torture, issues of brutalization by the police, and other things that have been listed by this international report. It's not the only one. Other international reports on human rights on Zambia in 2022, released in 2023, also catalogued the various breaches occurring. And every time I raise this issue, people say, no, you were not here. Under PF, it was worse. You have to look at these non-partisan reports that are issued by international bodies. If things occurred under the PF, they were wrong. If the wrong things are occurring under the UPND, they remain wrong. Unlawful killings of citizens, extrajudicial killings are not allowed. They are not allowed. You can't take away someone's life. And these have been listed and documented, and even names attached to this. Torture again, torturing of suspects. In fact, we see these officers, in fact, promoted those that are torturing the members of the public. There are other issues. What is happening in at the National Prosecutions Authority, where the Minister of Justice pushed a strong amendment that there should be a board chairperson who should be appointed. The DPP's office has guaranteed autonomy and independence enshrined in the Constitution. In fact, the DPP is a board chairperson of the board that is at the DPP, similar like Bank of Zambia. The board chair of the Bank of Zambia board is a governor. This is to entrench autonomy and authority, because the Constitution gives power to the governor's office, to the governor in person. And so he is the one that exercises that authority. Similarly to the DPP, that is not at the direction of anyone. The DPP has to be independent. So by bringing a board chair, this law is not only illegal, it breaches the Constitution. And I hope that President Hakainde Hichilema will not assent this law, because Mwamba and the UPND pushed it into Parliament using the arrogance of numbers. The arrest of the opposition. We saw the fresh one by Dr. Fred Membe. He said to have issued a statement that enraged the command at the police, and they had him arrested. And the Inspector General of Police proceeded to issue a statement, a very, very dangerous statement that should never be issued by a professional person like the Inspector General of Police. That statement is personal, attacks Fred Membe, is extremely political, and takes away rights of citizens. An IG cannot issue a statement that was issued, and it's not the first one. Remember, the IG issued similar statements defending those that are torturing people, where he said police are allowed to use minimum force. You remember he said most of his police officers that could have been employed by the PF, he called them junkies. That's not a man that you should bring as Inspector General of Police. In fact, his rustiness is showing. He was fired in 2010, and you bring him 13 years later. And now look at the incompetence and the political nature in which he's conducting himself. Many people have called for the resignation of the Inspector General of Police. He should. He's a danger to our democracy. If he can't be fired, if he can't resign, he should be fired. Even if it's the president sending him, this is very bad. It's not boding well for our democracy. My last point on good governance is the death of civil society. To raise issues for Zambians, it has been left to us, the opposition. It should be the duty of civil society groupings to speak impartially. Dr. Sishua, a good academic who's based in South Africa, has tabulated why the civil society is dead in Zambia. And those that are speaking to the defense of the breaches of President Hakainde Hichilema and his government. You have a civil society speaking to defend the president and his government instead of speaking on behalf of the people. So those are the factors. What is happening at the DPP's office, what is happening at the office of the Inspector General of Police, the human rights abuses that have been catalogued, and the death of civil society. Yesterday, our Civic Duty Association, famously called OSIDA, led by Archbishop Telesfo Mpundu, visited the president, and this is one of the many engagements the president is doing. I was glad to see them, to see this grouping meet the president, because I knew they'll be more candid than maybe probably other people that have seen the president. And from what we have gotten, they were clearly very candid with the president, to the extent that State House has stopped them from issuing the demands expressed to the president, that their concerns expressed in that statement. State House has requested OSIDA not to issue the statement. I wish that OSIDA would defy the president. They speak on behalf of Zambians, and they should publish that statement. They raise the issue of tribal appointments by the president, where he has filled all apparatus, all instruments, all offices with, with people that are regional or tribal appointments. They condemned the selective fight against corruption, which is biased, that is not fighting corruption, that won't fight the current corruption that is occurring. You saw today there is big announcement everywhere that the fertilizer contract has been suspended, it has been cancelled. Again, it is being driven by corruption, because people that won, you don't like them. You think they are associated with people you don't like, and you cancel the tender because you want your own groupings to be there. So there is huge issues of corruption. The arrest of the opposition, we are aware that Osida raised this matter with the president and advised the president not to oppress the opposition, because this is a rise of dictatorship. Another matter, shrinking democratic space. Many people will not believe that coming from a fresh election, coming from an election that was deemed democratic, where the president got a landslide, that will be speaking about this matter, shrinking democratic space. But that is what is happening, as I've cited from above. Look at the conduct of the Speaker of the National Assembly. Of course, an appointment like that of the judiciary, they are all from one region, and people have condemned that. But look how she has enforced those regulations in Parliament to stifle the opposition, to take away the voice of the opposition who speak for their constituencies and for Zambians. She has run the House like that of a dictator, where she doesn't allow members to express themselves freely. If you can't express yourself freely in Parliament, where will you speak? Law enforcement agencies have been tutored and have been tailored, to deliver literally an oppressive mandate of the executive, where law enforcement agencies are being used to oppress the opposition, arrest them, harass them, search them, lock them up, seize their assets even without justification. That is part of the shrinking democratic space. Oversight institutions such as the Auditor General's office. Look what happened. The Auditor General demanded that there should be proof for the 65 million kwacha. That was recovered area in 2021. Look at the Auditor General demand for documents relating to the fertilizer procurement in 2021 and 2022, and the Permanent Secretary refused to give such documents to the Auditor General. This was the same issue with other institutions. Electoral Commission of Zambia, where the president literally appointed cadres there. Now, this is an apex body that is a referee for our democratic process, and it is not because of the manner of those appointments of partisan individuals. You don't expect them to rise above the law and present themselves as an independent referee. We saw how they took seats for Kwacha and Kabushi, where even the Constitutional Court has said the candidates were barred unfairly. Literally, that election should take place again. The judiciary doesn't inspire any confidence. Many people had hope that the man who had taken the helm, Dr. Mwamba Malila, that he will be professional. Well, a lot to be desired. In fact, probably has sunk the judiciary far worse than any other appointee. The arrest and harassment of the opposition. This is an issue every day, where opposition leaders are being harassed in one way or another. Last item. Again, it's partly issues of good governance, but I separated it. I have noted resignation of board members that were appointed by President Hakainde Hichilema. Arthur Njovu and Nitesh Patel at IDC. The resignation of Rural Electrification Authority Board Chair Brenda Makai Mlengash. We condemn this appointment of this lady because, remember, she's a spouse to the Minister of Commerce, but people said, no, she's an engineer, she's qualified in her own right. Maybe she is, because here she is, she has resigned. Dolly Kabanda's, SCCMIH, and Dolly Kabanda's resignation even raised more concerns. First, government forced an agreement where the CMIH gave up its shareholding in Kansanshi copper and gold mine, forced the CMIH to drop criminal cases against First Quantum directors that were accused of siphoning $2.3 billion from Kansanshi and from Kansanshi copper and gold mine. This case was dropped, the criminal case, and we don't know what has happened to the fate of the civil case to recover this $2.3 billion that was siphoned out of Kansanshi. Dori Kabanda was resigned at the height of the sale of Mopani and KCM. Remember that ZCMIH has golden shares in those two entities. For Mopani, it even took over the 90% of shareholding in Mopani, so totally owned by ZCMIH. And also, her resignation took place at a rate when minority shareholders of ZCM raised the flag that the things that are occurring under the ZCMIH are corrupt. They even demanded for investigations. And remember now, Zambia, ZCMIH was suspended in London and in Paris. The stock exchanges suspended ZCMIH. It was the first time since 1964 that ZCMIH was being suspended. So I'm inviting you to call me and participate in these discussions. One, on good governance, the issues I've raised, OSIDA's visit to State House, the shrinking democratic space, and the resignation. What's happened to our state-owned enterprises? I personally am worried about ZESCO, which has already signed seven power purchase agreements. We don't know the terms, we don't know the conditions. Even that one of CEC, we don't know what the terms are. How much is ZESCO buying this power from these independent power suppliers? And for these 7 companies that have signed, you have seen them at State House from Qatar, from London. We want transparency because these are long-term contracts signed for 25 years, 20 years, 30 years, 50 years. You can only lock up the country and ZCCMIH to be servicing these independent power producers for many years. Look at Mwamba Collieries and the unfair power purchase agreement between Mwamba Collieries and ZESCO. ZESCO has just been dismantling a $500 million debt to Mwamba Collieries. When we tell them that look for $500 million to make Indeni a proper refinery, they won't look for $500 million. When we tell them look for $50 million to repair NCZ, they will not look for $50 million to repair NCZ. But they'll find $500 million to pay for this supply of power under an unfair power purchase agreement. And that's why we should be concerned with these new power purchase agreements that have been signed at ZESCO recently. The numbers to call are 0773 783 785 or 773 841 872. For those calling on WhatsApp, use 0773 841 872. I think that will be better for WhatsApp, and for ordinary calls, 0773 783 785. Please include this number on the screen for WhatsApp, 0773 841 872. Let's play the videos that we've prepared, and on the other side, I pick the phone calls.
Wait, Chile, stop it. So, when we speak like this, we are feeling sorry for you. I told previous governments, this thing you do, they'll do them to you. So you think you are a king, or this is a monarch where you are going to be a president for the rest of your life. My dear brother, if you are not careful, you will regret ever being president of Zambia. With the scandals that we are hearing happening in your government. I feel sorry for you, but for
the Zambia Police Service is mandated with the responsibility of maintaining law and order in the country, and also detection of crime, among other things. As such, we cannot sit and watch while an individual whose utterances are hell-bent on causing anarchy in the country. Him referring to military juntas in West Africa only means one thing: to destabilize the peace in the country which is being enjoyed by innocent citizens. The socialism is preaching about and the bringing of military coups, or let me just say, the relevance of military coups from West Africa into this country. We are wondering if this is the philosophy of socialism. All these statements have been made time and again on our watch, and excesses can no longer be tolerated, because now we know where he stands and what he's made of. As Zambia Police Service, we want to put it on record that we will not allow such schemes which everyone else equally abhors. If he knows what is good for him, it's better he quits forthwith while he can. And the same applies to every citizen who may be in the process of being chaperoned for the same. Please walk away. Zambia is not for selfish individuals. Therefore, this philosophy being championed by these desperate politicians can no longer, be observed with patience. The Zambia Police Service has an obligation to defend the Constitution at any cost, and that it will do even if it takes some stern measures, such as smashing the rebellion, which we know is carefully being instigated by the Socialist Party. The emerging juntas in West Africa is referring to is but wishful thinking that the same could be extended in this country. We are carefully studying the ingredients of the offense, and we will let you know in due course what his fate is going to be. The Socialist Party is preaching and thirsting for democracy, yet they've no spine to uphold the same. He has declared his resolve, and the Zambia police is ready to defend the Constitution. In one breath, the Socialist Party wants to say this country has sufficient laws to provide for the rule of law. In another breath, they are panting for violence because they want to cut corners to reach their destiny. As a reminder to the Socialist Party, If you check the history of this country, people with frivolous dreams such as yours have been defeated. I thank you.
No, you're not the admin, but you're the boss for the agreement group. You're pushing me, you're pushing the government, and you think that is how you get the job. Now I want to tell you, you will not get the job. I must tell you here, you will not get the job because you are the wrong type of people to take to a hospital. You abandon the patients. That's what you are going to do. You have already shown who you are, especially you, who is the green leader. In fact, PS, let them get out from being volunteers. These are troublemakers. So you can speak.
I think let me also start by saying that we just find the best we had to continue, but otherwise, it's just that to know the procedure, like there's even something like writing to your parent secretary.
And you are working. How come you didn't go even to your officers, to your leaders where you are working? You asked them. Did you ask them?
No.
So, you are in a facility, you have a facility manager there, you have left that, but you have time to be on social media, you have a lot of time to go to the police, you have time to go all over the show, but you have no time to go to your supervisors to ask them, you have no time to come to your ministry. No, you don't have time. Even just to send a text message, Minister, when is this recruitment? Or Minister, we have this issue. Director, or any officers that work here. You didn't have time.
You don't have your line like where to have access.
Okay. So you think access will be through demonstrations? And by the way, it is your right to demonstrate. Huh? It is your right. Except do it properly. And also, let it make sense. Okay? Let it make sense. Don't unnecessarily create confusion for the police to waste time on you when there's a lot of crime in town. You who is even volunteering, as you claim, okay, but it is your right. But when your right is done in a manner that becomes disruptive for others, because this time I'm sitting with you, it's a waste of my time, for your own information. It's a lot of waste of time. I could be doing something more profitable to the institution. Because this issue is a small issue. So go ahead.
Yes. I just need to know the process itself. And there are a lot of people who are contributing. It's not that I was the leader, but there were a lot of people.
They have given me 80 have contributed.
Yeah.
Money. That's what you're
There are a
telling
lot
me.
of people even from the other group, those that are 125, they would say, oh guys, follow like this. Because
But go and demonstrate. That's what they were telling you.
there are some people who are like, oh, there's that other guy, I think he's a doctor, was employed last year. Was the man.
The mutual understanding is very fruitful. We cannot afford to do otherwise. Wonderful. Thank you to all of you, especially the President and his staff.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you very much. Thank you very
Yeah, it's important.
On 0773 783 785 and 0773 841 8724. Those WhatsApp calls. You saw we've aired the video by the Inspector General of Police. I think that statement, the entire statement, especially the personal attacks against Fred Membe, was totally unnecessary. He should remain on issues of law and order And on the constitutional mandate, he should leave politics to his minister. The Minister of Home Affairs is capable of issuing political statements. That's his role, that's his ambit. Whoever is writing those statements for the IG, I think is not doing him service, because clearly it has exposed the Inspector General of Police that he ought to resign. I think there's no other way. He's conducted himself in a very partisan manner, in an unprofessional manner. And he is not fit to hold such an office in the manner he has displayed. And this is not the only statement. There have been other statements before that. Then there is a Minister of Health, under whose charge the health system has collapsed. Because you have no medicines, you have no medical supplies, you have no laboratory reagents, our labs are literally dead. Then diagnostic equipment literally are not working across the country. Equipment, from X-rays, CT scan to everything else. And young people who've been volunteering for this country without pay are working in health institutions, and they sent two representatives to see the minister, and they wanted to find out when these volunteers will be employed. Remember when there was unemployment of 11,000 health workers, there was a statement that were given that volunteers will be given priority, especially that they had sacrificed. And the minister literally told those young health workers that they will never be employed under hospitals or under health facilities. I think that was arrogance of the worst order. I played the video of President Edgar Lungu at the showgrounds. He stole the limelight, and I wanted you to see, because he's being discussed in many circles. And when he went to the showgrounds, he literally stole the limelight. And then you see the other videos that we played at Woodlands Police Station, where our comrade, Dr. Fred Membe, was detained. Call us. Let's now participate. Let me hear your views on 0773 783 785, 0773 841 872. We are discussing issues of good governance. We are discussing the shrinking democratic space. We've seen what is happening at Parliament. We've seen what is happening with law enforcement agencies. We've seen what has happened to oversight institutions. We've seen what has happened at the Auditor General's office. We've seen the continuous arrest and harassment of the opposition. And the last one, on board members that are resigning. Arthur Njovu and Nitesh Patel resigned from IDC. We have ZCMIH, Dolika Banda, who resigned amidst all these various concerns. And we have Rural Electrification Authority Board Chair Brenda Makai Mlenga, who also resigned. So I'm inviting you to participate in this discussion. Call us and we hear what your views are. There's an amendment that was moved in Parliament by the Minister of Justice on the DPP and the need to appoint a board chair that supervises the DPP. Now, I think it's Article 180 sub-Article 2 doesn't allow the DPP to be at the direction of anyone. So this law that they've pushed very hard literally is illegal. And I think when we test it as Zambians in the courts of law, the courts will probably expunge this law from our statute, even if it goes through, because it's against the Constitution. The DPP is not at the direction of anyone. Dr. Sishua wrote a good article that has exposed civil society for 2 years. They've been quiet, literally quiet, and the few that speak in defense of government, abandoning their role of civil society. They've helped in the bad governance that is occurring because they failed to provide checks and balances. There was even a statement from NGOCC, very, very sad statement, where the NGOCC was condemning Honorable Given Katuta for allegedly attacking a journalist First, the statement was premature. Secondly, they are attacking their fellow woman. Thirdly, these matters have not been proven in court of law. So how do you then attack, the MP? OSIDA, our Civic Duty Association, led by Archbishop Telesphore Mpundu, were at State House yesterday. I think they held a candid discussion, and they, from what we have gotten, they raised serious issues that are occurring in this country and some breaches that they felt that President was breaching, and also referred to tribal appointments, regional appointments, the selective fight against corruption, the failure by law enforcement agencies to fight the current corruption, the arrest of opposition leaders, and then what we are discussing today, shrinking democratic space. You've seen what is happening to the Speaker of the National Assembly. Sorry, I was just checking them for our phone here. I noticed that it was not switched on. Just a minute, let me rectify the issue of the phone. But the other one, the other number is on. Let me just is that my call? Sorry, let me just sort out the issue of the phone so that our callers can call. Just come and check if this is on. Just come and check if this is on, because the phone, I think, is flat. Sorry about that, but you can call. You can call on the numbers that we've given. 0773 841 872. Is this on? 0773 841 872. You can reach us on that number. This one is not coming on. Just check. It's not coming on. Oh. We love to interact with you, and therefore, quickly, so that our people can participate in this debate. Oh, good. Hello, good evening. Sorry, I have trouble with my phones. I don't know what's happening to my phones, but you're our first caller. Tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
My name is Frank, so I'm calling within Lusaka.
Yes, Frank, please make your contributions.
No, you see, it's interesting what is happening.
Yes.
But you remember, I think immediately after the late Michael Sata died, we were also telling you the way we are telling the UPND now.
Yes.
That some of these things that you're doing are making the democratic space shrink.
Yeah.
Because most of these things that were happening now, if you had corrected them when you were in government, if you had removed this thing that of 7 days, we will all be meeting. Isn't it? This is a disease that we have with African politicians. When you get in power, you forgot what happened to you when you were in opposition. When you leave power, you remember what you should have done before when you were in power.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting. When you're in power, you couldn't even be taught. You refused to listen to us until we chucked you out as PF. UPND comes in power, does almost the same thing that PF used to do. They even do it even worse. All of us now are beginning to complain.
Yeah.
They may come out in 226 or 31, but it's like you politicians don't learn any lesson from one another. Look at what has happened to Almembe. It's like I remember those days when you took Wakainde to Membe was there consoling Wakainde.
Yeah.
Today he's the one who is doing the other thing. You have been to South Africa. You have been to Ethiopia. But tell us, what really is the problem with African politicians? Mwamba, what is really the problem with you as African politicians? Because for me, I think the greatest hindrance to African problem has been you guys. We have every skill, we have the resources. All we need is a government that can think and we can go forward. But when you're in opposition, you guys have grand ideas. We give you the driving seat. Look at what is happening. Yes. Mwamba, tell us, at least you have been an ambassador, you have been to all these places. What really is your problem, you as politicians? That's what I wanted to find out from you.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Frank. Call us on 0773-841-872. We are still sorting out the other number. It's on now. I think you can call the 0773-783-785 and then call on 0773-841-872. I can assure you now both numbers are okay, so please call. Frank from Lusaka, just play the video.
Stop it. So, when we speak like this, we are feeling sorry for you. I told previous governments, this thing you do, they'll do them to you. So you think you are a king, or this is a monarch where you are going to be a president for the rest of your life. My dear brother, if you are not careful, you will regret ever being president of Zambia. With the scandals that we are hearing happening in your government. I feel sorry for you, but for...
Thank you very much. Let's take the calls. Let's take the calls. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
This is TM calling you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Mwamba. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, my brother.
You are saying the democracy is shrinking. What you have just shown us on the video now, do you think these things were happening in PF regime? Whereby cadres will be at the police station making noise like that, pointing at the police officers like that. It was the democracy that was happening that time when things were not happening like the way they are happening now. So some of the things that you show on your platform, they are just contradicting what was happening on the previous regime. Because those things were not happening. You remember what caused Kaunda to die? Is it not the same? What you have just shown on the script that we are showing now? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, my brother. It's your contribution.
Yeah.
I usually let people speak their mind.
Some of the things that you are talking about, Mr. Mwamba, you are just contradicting yourselves. There was nothing that can be happening the way they are happening now. Chitika mwana vichitikira. So hapo vantu avasembe vatiriwa matia gazi kuipa. From yesterday up to today they were just at the police station making noise. Assemble the PF regime that time. Those people would have been tear gas, others would have been even beaten by the police officers. Look at what is happening. That is the sign of democracy. But you are saying democracy is shrinking. How? When people are free to do whatever they want to do. Can you be serious, guys, the way you are criticizing the government, so that people must understand what really you want to do for them? Talk about what you are going to do, about what you are talking about, the high cost of living, other than what you are doing now. Those are just useless things. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You don't use foul language here, my brother. I let you speak, but don't use foul language. You are in an open space. Yes. The whole country is listening. Measure your language. On shrinking of democratic space, I've justified Mr. JM. Look what is happening in Parliament. You know, even under PF, you saw Jack Mwimbu, Cornelius Mwetwa, who discuss, who debate. They were never curtailed by, they were never curtailed. Look at what's happening to law enforcement agencies. Look at what is happening to oversight institutions. Look what is happening at Electoral Commission of Zambia. Look at what is happening, the arrest and harassment of the opposition. My dear brother Eugene, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
I liked the last clip by CK.
Yes.
Where he was saying, wait, they must stop it. Okay.
Yes, he should stop it.
I laughed. On the issue of taking new politicians to woodlands, I think the police should rethink that. They are disturbing business at Woodland Shopping Mall, because if you carry a lot of people, I don't think from yesterday and today, business has been like the way it has been in the past. I think they are inconveniencing those that are selling there. It's better they find some police station somewhere away from the business if they want to handle that. That's one thing I observed. Because isn't that not a shopping mall?
Yeah, there's a shopping mall across.
Yeah, and if there are a lot of people like that, I'm sure some shops even closed. I don't know, maybe some shops.
In fact, they make more business. We go in there to buy water, we buy drinks, we even eat food there, so they become more busy.
Maybe those in terms of food they'll benefit, but the others who are others, I don't think they'll become uncomfortable. They'll become comfortable seeing a lot of people there. Imagine if there's a riot or something.
Let me help you focus.
Yes.
Good governance,
I know.
shrinking democratic space, resignation of board members. What topic are you referring to? Are you going to discuss?
This is one thing I've picked to say. If the police want to arrest the whoever, they shouldn't inconvenience business people. That's one thing I've looked at.
Okay.
That's that's the point I'm trying to arrive. So that's why I'm saying it's better they find a police station somewhere away from they shouldn't affect the business. It's better business continues. People make money like that. Then the other important thing I wanted to talk about is on Friend Member.
Yeah.
I'm a bit uncomfortable with him. This is one area I'm a bit uncomfortable with. This is a person who goes to campaign, is carrying a gun, even fires a gun. Do you also have a gun, Mr. Mwamba? Do you carry a gun when going to campaign? Or did the Chiruba ever carry a gun when going to campaign? You can answer, you can chip in. You can chip in.
I'll answer after you've spoken. I'm encouraging people to say, then I answer them later.
Okay, thank you. So sometimes when I sit down and say, this is the opposition leader, he wants to save, because people go into politics, they want to save the country, they want to save the people. But how do you go? Maybe if your bodyguard, maybe, but you, someone who wants to run for office, you are carrying a gun, you even fire a gun. I'm thinking, if this person was to be given power to say, okay, run the country, how will they be? Are we going to have this same shrinking democracy you're talking about? Are you sure we are going to be free in our own country if such a man was to ascend into power? So sometimes, even you, as you support, as opposition, as you support, please don't you support someone who's going to be who's going to crush citizens. It's better as you support. From my own point of view, I would rather maybe people like Kalava, maybe people like you, those that have, at least they have a human heart, but him, I don't think he has a human heart. Because if he can carry a gun to go and campaign, how do you carry a gun? Sometimes I try to, no, this man, no. As you seek public office, please don't support someone who's going to crush even you, the people that supported him. Try to see and give us someone you even to know to say, okay, this person is seeking public office because they want to save. Not someone you are already saying that this person, if he can carry a gun during campaigns, what more if he was to become a Republican president? What will happen to the citizens? Because those are the signs. What will become of Zambians? Are we not just going to be killed? We will not even have anyone to rise up and say, no, we want democracy. If such a person can do that, so what more if they are president? So that's my point of view. So even as you support each other as oppositions, please choose someone who was the heart of the country first, not their own selfish interest, not the people, not just someone just to come and crush citizens like that. No. Zambia is for everyone of us.
Anything else?
Yes. No, those are the two major things I wanted to bring out.
Okay.
Yes.
So to both Jem and Eugene, the police should stop arresting the opposition for frivolous issues, for issues that don't require police arrest. I think that's a starting point. Where police stations are based, I think for me it's a non-issue, Eugene. Everywhere, whether it's at service headquarters, will disrupt traffic, whether it's at Lusaka Central, wherever it is, whether it's at Charleston, wherever it is, there will be disruption of public life. I think it is important that the police assess, investigate before they proceed to charge and arrest someone. And they should quickly give bond, especially for bondable cases where you are not a flight risk, where you are or fixed aboard. There should be no problem in quickly giving people police bond and making them stay in police custody 2-3 days. For me, I would like to look at it from that perspective. Shrinking democratic space, yes, there is. Sadly, yes, there is. Yes, President Hakainde Hichilema came on a crest of democracy, came on a crest to restore rights and freedoms of individuals. But is that what he's doing? Have you looked at what is happening in Parliament? Would he make the appointments he made at ECZ if he was respecting democracy? Would he do what he has done at oversight institutions such as the Auditor General's office? Why would members of the boards who he appointed himself be resigning here and there? We have the resignation of Dolly Kabanda from ZCMIH, Brenda Makai Mulenga from Rural Electrification Authority, Arthur Njovu and Nitesh Patel from IDC. With all these things that are happening, the torture, the brutalization, the unlawful killing, extrajudicial killings happening under his watch as listed and documented, is happening under his watch. This is a shrinking democratic space we are talking about. The death of civil society, and Dr. Sishua has analyzed it very well. The failure to uphold good governance and good governance tenets. The standards are quite high. When you say you are promoting democracy, when you say you are upholding the rule of law, you need to do that. You can't use law enforcement agencies as tools of oppression against the opposition, against your perceived political opponents. 0773-783-785. The number is now working, the landline one you can call, or 0773-841-872. We are discussing issues of good governance, shrinking democratic space, resignation of board members. What do you think is causing all this? The happening as SCMIH, I think is even more serious because they got a suspension from the London Stock Exchange and from the Paris Stock Exchange. They are currently participating in the sale of KCM and sale of Mopani because they are the shareholders. There's an issue of minority shareholders that have called corruption, current corruption under the CMIH, and the non-publication of audited financial statement caused the suspension of ZCMIH from London and from Paris. There's an issue of the IG. You saw his statement. This is what we are talking about, democratic space, where the IG is literally speaking politics, threatening citizens, judging citizens, adducing, opinions that prejudices even the cases that he wishes to pursue. He should just do his job under law and order, and he should restrict himself and keep away from politics, and especially the partisan statements he's been issuing. They erode even things that he wishes to express concern about. We played the video of Madam Sylvia Masebo, a person that I think, in my view, should resign because, the health system has collapsed under her, and castigating those young people that just wanted to understand when they'll be employed, because there are many volunteers, young people that are working in our health facilities, and they were promised jobs and they haven't been employed. They said they'll be given priority, and they haven't been given priority. And they grouped together and sent 2 representatives to the PS and the minister. And the minister told these kids that they'll never be employed. I think that statement was totally unfair. So call us on 0773 783 785 and 0773 841 872. Let's hear your views. For the WhatsApp one, I think it's 0773 841 872. I think I've answered Frank from Lusaka. He asked a good question. What happens to you politicians when you get elected? Why do you abandon things that you promised? I think he's referring to all of us as politicians. We promise big, speak well, and do the opposite. In fact, when politicians don't deliver their mandate, when politicians don't deliver on their promises. They discourage participation of members of the public, that such a time comes for voting, our people stay away, because they'll be saying politicians are the same. And they begin to stay away from politics. But Frank, don't despair. Frank, don't despair. We have to hold our leaders accountable. That is why some of us speak. We want things done properly. It's no excuse for you not to, for leaders to fail to deliver on their promise, to get comfortable with the planes, with the good cars and those air-conditioned offices, and abandon the people that voted for you, abandon your promises. It's our duty to keep on trying and trying better leaders. Good evening, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from, and I think mute your device. Oh, we lost him. Please call back 0773 841 872 or 0773 783 785. Just try this number. Is it working? Because we haven't received any call on it. It may not be working and we could be bothering our people, giving them a number. Let me just try it. Just to ensure that people are not trying to reach us on the other number. Because our people do call and they call very often. Yeah, let me try it just to be sure that they... It's not working. Uh-oh, I think that's why we have a problem. Just a minute, let me just try this number. Ninkondo more position. It's showing that it is off. You can see that's why our people are not reaching us. I'm so sorry today. We'll resolve some of these issues, but we don't understand. Okay, we'll keep on using this one that is going through. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Good evening. Yes, good evening.
This is Mrs. Sumaza from Chama.
Yes, Mama. Make your contributions.
I'm quite. Hello?
Mkwai, we can hear you.
Yes. Nati umwana budura so apa mala tuafusha ni fomuinga kwani shock tuafwa. Quite concerning millennial, especially for us people who are not working. Quite. Thank
you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, the cost of minimum is extremely expensive, over 300 kwacha. And this is in ShopRite. We don't know what the price of minimum would be in private shops, because ShopRite is quite cheap, and the price of minimum is over 300 kwacha. And the other essential foodstuffs, such as meal, cooking oil, sugar, salt, they are also very, very expensive. And this is extremely expensive for our people. They are suffering from low salaries. And government has not shown any roadmap on how they will resolve this issue of high cost of living. They have not demonstrated how it will be done. How will they lower the cost of cooking oil, sugar, meal? How will they do it? For meal, it is actually going to rise and rise because of what we know. they are buying mealie meal at 280 kwacha, so it can't be any cheaper. The primary factor in our mealie meal is maize. So if a bag of maize for 50 kg is 280 kwacha, what would be the price for our people? It's extremely unfair. So, Mayobana Mwanza, I don't have an answer for you. Government has not provided a pathway in which they can assure us that the price of mealie meal will come down. It will probably even continue to go up. Look at the exchange rate. It's not stable. Today it's at 17. Tomorrow it's at 19. It's at 18. Very difficult for our people, importers and exporters, to plan. And when mealie meal is high, the cost, maize is high, it means your meats will be high, because stock feed is also made from, maize. So how will our people even afford? So everything has gone up, from meats, chickens, actual mealie meal, then the essential food stuff. And government has not provided a roadmap of how they can lower the price. One phone is not working. Please call us on 0773 841 872. Call us on 0773 841 872. I think our usual line is not working. Our usual line, I can see it keeps on going off for one reason or another. Our producer, you should resolve these issues of phone. It frustrates our people. They want to participate in these discussions, and then we have phones not working. We have phones not working. But this one, you can reach us. I think it is on 0773 841 872. 0773 841 872. We are discussing issues of good governance. We are discussing the shrinking democratic space. We are speaking about board members that are resigning, and these are appointees of the president. What could be causing it? Why would they resign within a period of 1 year when they were given these positions? It shows that there's something going on. I've expressed concern around ZESCO, and ZESCO is a state-owned enterprise to watch, especially by those power purchase agreements that are being signed. For how much is ZESCO signing those power purchase agreements? Call us on 0773 841 872. Just play the video by, I think the OSIDA video by the president with OSIDA, and also maybe partly by the IG, so that maybe we can briefly, before we wind up, we can sort out the issue of this phone.
The mutual understanding is very fruitful. We cannot afford to do otherwise. Wonderful. Thank you to all of you, especially the president and his staff.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very
Yeah, it's important. Okay, thanks.
Mama, you just put them down.
Okay, I think we've resolved the issue of the first phone, 0773 783 785, the usual number. Let's try to call it on it. Let's call on 0773 841 872. Today, we are discussing issues of good governance. The other number, I apologize, was not working for one reason or another, but now I think it is clearly on. Yeah, it's on. We can call on it. Let's see how we will resolve this issue. And the other number is on 0773 841 872. We're discussing issues of good governance. We highlighted the issue that is happening at the National Prosecutions Authority. The board chairperson they wish to introduce a position of board chair other than the DPP. This erodes the powers of the DPP as provided for in the Constitution, which says the DPP is autonomous, independent, and chairs the board of the DPP. It's like the Bank of Zambia board is chaired by, okay, we have a caller. Good evening, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Good evening, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Njavwa. I'm calling from Chilanga.
Mr. Njavwa from Chilanga, please make your contribution, sir.
Yes, my contribution is that you're making very good, valid points on the program here. But the challenge I seem to be finding with I don't know if it's Zambian politicians or it's the kind of state that things are going in. Why is it so difficult for the Zambian opposition leaders to really stand together and maybe just come up with one formidable agreement where you people can really work as one? Because even in the PF, as we look at the PF right now, there are so many people that want to stand as president. And for followers of the PF like us, we are starting to lose hope bit by bit because of too many leaders wanting to stand under one political party. Up until today, we don't have a leader who's going to lead the PF party. And 2026 is very, very, very close, sir. So how do you motivate us as the voters, as the PF guys and all that? Because we don't know who's going to be the leader. Too many people want to be leaders. Yes, we know that the UPND government is a failed project, but we still don't have another opposition party that seems to have a future with the UPND, with all this division that's already in the PF itself. I think our only future we can see right now is Mr. Fred Membe, although his political party is quite small, but for now he seems to be the person who seems to know what he's doing and what he's talking about. How can you guide us on that, sir?
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Njavwa.
Hello.
Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Yes, Raymond, make your contributions.
Yes, I just want to add on the high cost of living and the debate going on whenever we complain about the high cost of living. So this debate which is going on to say no, whenever we talk about the price of commodities, talk of the price of mini meal going up, despite them promising to say no, they will put it at 50 kwacha. So they are saying to say no, even when the PF came into power, they found the bag of mini meal at 37. Even when the MMD came into power, they found the price of the price of of mini meal at a certain price. So we're not looking at what PF found the price of mini meal at, because what we are looking at is what they promised. If during campaign, if they told us to say no, since PF found the bag of minimum at 37 and they took it at 120, even us will take it at 200 or maybe 300. Would have voted according what they promised us. But then when we complain to say no, the price of minimum has gone up. You promised us to come at 50 kwacha, and they say no, even PF will took it. No, what did you promise us? And this arrogance which is going on, I was just watching a broadcast when Taukawana was at the Oxygen of Democracy. You know, there's this arrogance that is coming out. You know, they think as if Zambia is a monarchy, you know, as if UPND is running a monarchy. One day that power will, you know, it's us who are voting, it's us the people feeling the pain.
Yeah.
So they need to, you know, they need to they need to take it easy. At least, they need to, I don't know which word I can use, but, let them not use this arrogance when the people are complaining. Anger is real, poverty is real on the ground. They are telling us to work hard, whenever we complain, no, there's no money. They're telling us to work hard. Which platform are they giving us to work hard? There are no jobs. Should we steal? Should we join Satanism?
How about Raymond? Muyoko.
I don't understand when they tell us to work hard. What should we work hard for? There are no jobs. There's no money. Everyone is now doing business. We don't even know some of us which business to start. Because everyone now is running to business. Despite there's no money. People are being stayed on the streets. Now my wish tomato per street, just to send the Havana to school. They have chased them on the street and they're telling us to work hard. Well, now which route should we take?
How can you work hard when you don't have a job?
Imagine. Anyway, let me give a chance to others to call in as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Raymond. Thank you. I'm grateful.
Thank you.
Yeah, please call. We seem to have one number only working for one reason or another. I don't know what has happened to this other number, but we'll not be deterred. We'll continue to broadcast. We'll continue to say what needs to be said, and we'll invite you for comments. The other number is 0773-841-872. You can call it on WhatsApp or on Clear Line. Raymond from Lusaka says, every time we complain about the high cost of living, they say, no, the PF found millimio at 35 kwacha and they took it to 130 kwacha. He says that's not the answer. You promise that you get the millimio from 130 kwacha, you bring it down to 50 kwacha. You promised that the exchange rate will come down to 12 kwacha per dollar. You promised that fertilizer will come down to 250 kwacha. It's now retailing at 1,400 kwacha. You promised that you reduce electricity tariffs. You have actually increased electricity tariffs, I think by, it is 17%. You promised that fuel will be cheap at 12 kwacha. Fuel is now at 26 kwacha from 17 kwacha. And is that advise these leaders who are arrogant. Oh, we've got a caller. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
I'm calling out from the United States. It's a good city.
Yes, Mwana. How are you?
I'm all right, Ambassador Mwamba. How are you?
Kurishani kwa America.
Kwa America kulichebu, Bulu wanga chevalira every day ku Zambia. Walira every day, every after 2 days, infungo tuma 1 pin ya unga.
Yeah.
Unga wamba kulingana na mtengo wa nyumba kwa Kanyama.
Yes. 400 kwacha nyumba, 400 kwacha millimio.
This is not good, Ambassador Mwamba. Last time unga wezeli pa 180, napo na kutumia mponi phone hapa. Nizo kuuzali Ambassador Mwamba nati. So ndishi. Mtengo wa unga manje ndishi. Ndiye price yazoona amene yankala hapo manje hapa. Kozi unga Ambassador Mwamba sifika kusoberera hapo ka. Kozi unga unapisha wakaunda pa mpando. Ndiye chenja mfuniko ziwa 1990 kuna uka riot tenze kwa time kuna uka riot chukwa cha unga 1991 wachiliwa watenga power mu MMD time unga kukwera abantu banamba kukamba so stinga program kukamba chukwa cha chukanda UPND limpower unga waba funiko kwa konzera hapo atipromise atwazapo kuchinya ma situation ya ife bantu kankalibyo bazapaka kwa kujia kwa mtengo chiba batidaba kai bintu banazo kamba na bani bishika bili opposite kai Kapena Ambassador Mwamba mumuzi wa muntu amana ba 10 point plan ya church ufunga mumsakire mumugwire abweze 10 point plan because abantu balulwa na manje the king has lost direction nipe mpache wa PF tenti gwilizane wonse kipake che manja pamozi tenti kunzeshe kusupporta cha alliance ngati wazapasa ibo mpando convention za kusupporta ngati wazapasa mundu wile za supporta wakapasa wasike za supporta GPM za supporta nipe mpache tenti gwilizane wonse Abamela bwera wonse aba tinakongolesa che ba youth siyandi ya convention wonse ba youth bamene banaenda kusupporta bazabwera but wa church sakiana amenana ba 10 point plan abweze Because wafunika watipase unga wa 50 kwacha. Serious, wafunika watipase unga wa 50 kwacha. The price ya 250. Wafunika watipase fuel ya 12 kwacha. Wafunika dola 10 kwacha. Because wana promise aweka paka mwapao. Kulibia muntu anafaka mfuti kumutu kwa hiyo ukiatia ukanga president ukafake ma prices ya so ni wewe kafuna.
Oh, sorry. Good evening, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Yeah. Are you there? You can wind up, my brother. Oh, Nayana has gone. Okay. At least people are going through, I think, 0773-841-872. You can call us on that number. Let's hear your views about the various issues we're discussing today. But people always, oh, this one has rung for the first time. Okay. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Yes, we can hear you. You kindly mute the other device.
Okay, my name is Mumba.
Solo?
Mumba.
Okay, yes, Mr. Mumba. Make your contribution, sir.
Yeah, I want to contribute on the way Madam Speaker is handling members of Parliament in Parliament.
Yes.
That one is unacceptable. The Speaker states Parliament as if it is a whole house now, because she wants to control everything that the member of Parliament wants to debate. The members are going that side to represent their people.
Yes.
To review the problems of the people who are in their constituencies. Now, she has grabbed all the freedom of the member of Parliament. And the debate is not even enjoyable. You can't even have appetite to watch Parliament TV. Because you can't learn anything. You see? So I think that attitude should be changed. Because if I think what I can advise to use Zambians, especially who are in a higher level, is to fight to change the appointment of speaker by the president. Yes. I think there must be maybe some changes whereby you start electing them. Yes, maybe to help us, because when the speaker is being appointed by the president, definitely she or he will be defending the president and the party where is coming from. If you look at Madam Nerimuti, she's a cut from UPND, automatically cutter from UPND, and then she has appointed as a speaker. Who do you think she can defend? She can defend the president and a part where she's coming from. That is my contribution.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. The other number is also working. 077-378-3785. We've received the first call on that line. And for those that are on WhatsApp, you can call us on 0773-841-872. We are discussing the shrinking democratic space and issues of good governance and also the resignation of board members. Okay, now this phone is now working because it's busy. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening. This is Moses Sanga from Clear.
Yes, Moses. Make your contributions.
Yes, I just wanted to highlight a few concerns regarding to the mines.
Yes.
We're currently a contractor and supplier. But we wanted to know the way forward of what this mine is going to help us as contractors and suppliers. Because the challenge which we have is that motivation to enter the plants to look for business is becoming a bit difficult. Because when we enter there, we have to make sure that we're doing the right thing. So basically speaking, we've got a lot of competition and there's a lot of undercoats. So it's not like the government where when you finish some work, they give you a partial payment, but we have to finance our jobs. Now it takes a long time for us to get paid when we finish our job. So what's going to happen that they're delaying to announce the the new investor, because there's some equity partner are going to be able to know that, you know, we're guaranteed that payments will be coming when we look for business. Because competition is high. We've got maybe about 6,000 registered suppliers and contractors. So undercoats are there. So we usually make losses. And then paying back financial intermediaries, we also have interest rates. So it's quite cumbersome to look at it that way, to do business at the moment. And then how do people pay their workers? So we're just waiting for someone who's going to be viable, so that it also motivates us to do business there. Because if you look at it this way, purchasing power of time value of money changes over time. Because today 10 kwacha won't be 10 kwacha after 6 months if you're paid. So prices of things change, and you end up incurring losses. So I don't know how we can circumvent this issue. Needs to be addressed, in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Moses. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you. Moses has raised very fundamental issues of suppliers and contractors for the mines, and he's raised, I think, some specific mine where they are supplying, and is bemoaning the competition that is there. And then the need by government to resolve the issue of both KCM and Mopani. This also has caused anxiety and lack of money, because these mines are operating at below capacity because of uncertainties. We don't know whether they are bringing an equity partner or whether they will let ZCMIH run. But from what we've known so far is that they are looking for an equity partner who should come with investment into the mines. And the economy on the copper belt is dead, as demonstrated by Moses, where even people are borrowing and sometimes even trading at a loss, and they have to meet those obligations with financial intermediaries like banks and other lenders. And it's quite difficult because some institutions have been bankrupted, some individuals have been bankrupted by the delay in payments. Workers have not been paid, and sometimes they spend more time in court than they would spend time to work. So the issues of the mines, which is an anchor of our economy, must be resolved. And Moses has put it very well. Mwamba raised the issue of the speaker. Yes, this is where we are saying there's shrinking democratic space, because we expect the speaker to allow freedom of expression, to allow members of parliament to speak for and on behalf of their constituencies where they come from, and to speak for the people of Zambia through the House of Parliament. And the speaker doesn't seem to know what her role is. She thinks her duty is to help the UPND and help ministers. I hear her very often even answering on behalf of ministers, or even curtailing debate that is trying to put ministers under checks and balances. Zambia is a democracy. We chose to be a democracy. And all holders of these institutions, from the president, must respect the will of Zambians. Zambians want our democracy to thrive. Zambians want democratic institutions and oversight institutions to thrive, because they want a democracy that works for us. They want the police to be non-partisan. They want the police to be opposition. They want law enforcement agencies not to harass the opposition, not to be used as tools and instruments of harassment, where you go to harass Ndambo, where you go to harass anyone that you think is a threat to you. This is not what Zambians voted for. Zambians want a democracy that thrives. Zambians want to speak and air their views without being arrested. We know the laws around hate speech. We know about tribal talk. We know all that. But Zambians simply want to say, Ubungabane, Nabudula, Zambians want to say, Banana Mufeluka, Fideken, you resign. Zambians want to express themselves. Your duty is to allow them and hear them. If you are a wise leader, you hear their concerns and attend to the concerns. Both numbers are working. As we will begin to wind up in the next 10 minutes, please call 0773 783 785 and 0773 841 872. We are discussing issues of shrinking democratic space, issues of good governance, and I'd solicited for your views on the issues of the board members who are resigning. Someone has spoken about ZCCMIH. It's part of the issues that I had raised. We want ZCCMIH to work. We want the IG to be professional. We want democratic institutions to be independent and work. That's what we voted for. That's what Zambians want as people that vote and have a stake in our country. They want this country run better. They don't want leaders to repeat the mistakes of their predecessors. They don't want the arrogance of their predecessors to be the rule in their running of our country. Moses, the contractors and suppliers, you're not the only ones that haven't been paid. Even those that are under government have suffered worse, because there was an audit that was done. They said we couldn't pay for those that had supplied there. An audit was done. What has happened to the audit? Why haven't you published the audit report and audit findings? Why haven't you paid the contractors and suppliers? So it ties to what Moses has been saying, and he's saying on the power purchase parity, where the 10 kwacha today might not be the same 10 kwacha 6 months later. So people are running at a loss. Please call us on 0773 783 785. The number seems to be working, and on WhatsApp 0773 841 872. Today they arrested, the last 2 days they arrested Comrade Fred Membe, Socialist Party President, on charges of criminal defamation. This is just a long list of charges that opposition members have suffered, usually on flimsy or unfounded allegations. The IG even read a statement threatening more charges, literally reading like he's reading the Treason Act against Fred Membe, and then he infused in political statements that were totally unnecessary. And let's just play the video of Mr. Membe when he was released. I think you have seen that video where he was released. Let's play that video. We hear his remarks. Oh, you do not have the video. You have the video. Let's see, so that people can see it. Please call us on 0773 783 785 and make your contributions. Where is he? Please call us on that number. We hear your views before we go to wind up. Okay, we can't seem to find the video. So we're discussing the issue of the judiciary. Let me take the last 2 calls. If the calls can come in, I don't know what has happened to our numbers, but we'll invite you to call quickly before we wind up. We're discussing the issue of the shrinking democratic space. And we've given the various examples Zambians have a duty to guard their democracy. We shouldn't slide into a path of dictatorship. We should allow and we should be allowed to speak, to express ourselves freely. Law enforcement agencies should not be used as tools of oppression. They should not be used as tools to silence the opposition. On issues of governance, I think OSIDA met the president, and we know that they raised fundamental issues, and we urge OSIDA to publish their concerns that they had given to the president for Zambians to benefit from the concerns that they had raised. Madam Masevo, we saw her telling young people that they'll never be employed. Come on. It's not your duty. It's not your duty. Give those young people opportunities. And they were mayor representative. Oh, we have a call. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
I am calling you from Tendele, sir. How are you, sir?
I'm very well. Your name, sir?
My name is Matthew Zumsonda.
Yes, Mr. Matthew Zumsonda. Make your contributions.
Yes, ndefa kono kulanda po but okay if you chika chafa chance if you chika powders kwamba yesterday up today twachiva po. Yes, but the okay government tefa ifuri okuchitanga if yakutatiambo kula konka kwati investigation some opposition no the Zambian ya vote revena just because kuta if in order. So you can't arrest umuntu without any case. So iyi bafwire babe concentration pa kumona bushe ubunga twala study shani. What about transportation? Because there are a lot of people complaining everywhere complaining. If it was to sacrifice over vote Ravena, but now but to start disappoint as the ama youth, that's why okay to disappoint Mandini. Yes, I don't know honorable imo for mwala atwafwa your group your imfunika mwaikala panju discuss so that by 2026 you have to remove it into tukabike po abantu abakutatu bakatutire ko if ingatuwa misho wika chiweso. Yes, go university. Ku university ama student varelila. Everywhere ama student vare complainer. But valelanda that yo what CDF what? Twala ya CDF. Twala inda muri CDF. No. System ibaleta kwa CDF just forget about it. You have to concentrate on things. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm grateful.
All right, sir. All right.
Thank you. Matthew is very clear. Arrest the economy. Don't arrest opposition members. Arrest the economy. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Please mute your device. Mute your device. Oh, we lost him. When you call, kindly mute your device so that you can quickly speak without feedback. Matthews from Mtendere is saying we should arrest the economy and not arrest opposition members. He cited the high cost of living, the price of fuel, price of meal, price of transport, price of electricity, price of fertilizer. All these things, I think, require urgent attention than the harassment that we've seen, the energy that has been directed against the opposition. And today, our brother Fred Membe was no exception. He has been locked up in the last 2 days and was released today afternoon. He just joins a long list of opposition leaders that have been arrested. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
My name is John. I'm calling from Kitwe.
Yes, John from Kitwe.
Yeah, I just want to say that to add my voice on the issue of meal and the economy. Yes, the economy is very bad. I know the And also, it's very expensive to buy. And the only problem is, from the opposition leaders, myself, I don't see anyone who can come and do better than HH. The problem is the only the opposition leaders, they are only good in solidarity. Support and if you for not for the long. Because no opposition leader can go to the police and say, no, my friend, we are alone. Even if I was a president, they just go there and support the long thing from but if not, we don't want to see that. Let the opposition come, but we will have 400. If when we come in power, to a plan, so you can buy minimum what the like 100 kwacha 90 or somewhere like there. Don't say time solidarity, moving to solidarity. No, we are giving advantage to UPND. Therefore, position my sound board no if we have CDF we party 28 million. If we have 100 million, example just an example. Contribution tonight. Thank you
very much. Thank you very much. John from Kitwe wants us to be giving alternative policies. We shouldn't just be turning out for solidarity. Well, solidarity is very important, John, and I agree with you that the opposition should work together beyond, being brought together by difficulties like that of an arrest. I agree with you that we need to work together and later join forces to ensure that we provide the alternative voice against President Hakainde Hichilema, and we give Zambians an alternative leadership. I agree with you. Why do we turn up? Because every citizen is deemed innocent before the law. You have a right to innocence. It doesn't matter what the police say. You are innocent until proven guilty by a competent court of law. So those charges in many cases are actually ridiculous if you look at the details. And we have a duty to stand with one another. That was John from Kitwe. We're discussing the issue of shrinking democratic space, citing what is happening in Parliament, citing what is happening with law enforcement agencies, citing what is happening with the executive, citing issues of corruption, citing the various issues, the poor and bad governance. And, this is a government that had come on the premise that they'll promote freedoms and rights of our people, that they will allow you to operate, and that they'll resolve the economy. That was the biggest thing. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Yes. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Hello? Northwestern Solwezi.
Your name, sir?
Jos Kasambo.
Yes, from Solwezi. My brother, Jos Kasambo. Make your contribution.
Okay. Vakaramba Emmanuel Mwamba. Hello?
I can hear you. Please make your contributions.
Okay. Contribution yandiri so echo ndelomba kufekuri imwe. Ama opposition party yonse oyo muntu nashupa. Gatakwa balo bonse nga bali mikaka fe bonse. So echo ndemirombe chako bati mwikata nefe pamo mukasale ntungulu ingemi nankwe mu 2026 uyu muntu akafumepo pantuluse takwata elo takatare kwata poruse efyala ile fyonse tapali file chitika kuikata kubunge watu laela 50 kwacha valunda pali almost 300 register kuno Northwestern. Omuntu ashani tare umfira kulusi abalanda chilino chefotire mune wakati uteko bwakwisha febeka kanula chusha imwe position chapwa So please, mwikata mapongate hivyo tukafa secha tapadi balungu tare kangia
Yeah, your network, my brother, your network.
Okay.
But I think we got you. Thank you. Joski from Solwezi says we should just work together to ensure that we begin to remove, in 2026, the government of the UPN, because it failed. There's a litany of broken promises which they promised and they have not fulfilled. The pledges that they had told the people of Zambia and the basis for which they were elected. Thank you, Joski from Solwezi. I think we will wind up. We'll wind the debate. I would like to thank you for participating in today's program. I'm so sorry about the issue of our phones, and they were haywire. For about 10-15 minutes, we couldn't get you to call. I think we'll resolve whatever the issue is with the phones. But I'm glad that a few calls came later, and we were able to hear your concerns. So we will say bye until I think Friday, when we have another episode and edition of The Brief. Good night, God bless you, and may the Lord bless you, and we'll see you on Friday. We will begin with the videos we played. We just refresh what we're discussing today, and then we end the program. So good night, and thank you for all and your contributions.
Mileage. The Zambia Police Service is mandated with the responsibility of maintaining law and order in the country, and also detection of crime, among other things. As such, we cannot sit and watch while an individual whose utterances are hell-bent on causing anarchy in the country. Him referring to military juntas in West Africa only means one thing: to destabilize the peace in the country which is being enjoyed by innocent citizens. The socialism is preaching about and the bringing of military coups, or let me just say, the relevance of military coups from West Africa into this country. We are wondering if this is the philosophy of socialism. All these statements have been made time and again on our watch, and excesses can no longer be tolerated, because now we know where he stands and what he's made of. As Zambia Police Service, we want to put it on record that we will not allow such schemes which everyone else equally abhors. If he knows what is good for him, it's better he quits forthwith while he can. And the same applies to every citizen who may be in the process of being chaperoned for the same. Please walk away. Zambia is not for selfish individuals. Therefore, this philosophy being championed by these desperate politicians can no longer, be observed with patience. The Zambia Police Service has an obligation to defend the Constitution at any cost, and that it will do even if it takes some stern measures such as smashing the rebellion, which we know is carefully being instigated by the Socialist Party. The emerging juntas in West Africa is referring to is but wishful thinking that the same could be extended in this country. We are carefully studying the ingredients of the offense, and we will let you know in due course what his fate is going to be. The Socialist Party is preaching and thirsting for democracy, yet they've not.